Hey everyone, it's Manero here, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I drew this portrait using the cross-hatching technique in Procreate. So let's jump right into it. In order to achieve this, I'm going to be using the Crosshatching Experience brush set for Procreate. You can find it along with a free mini version for you to try out on my Gumroad page through the link in the description below. I'm also going to be working from this photo reference by Hussein Kilik. First, you can see that I'm importing a couple of textures from my Manero brushes paper collection, as I like the traditional feeling of drawing on real paper that they give. If you're curious, the textures I'm using are called Vintage Paper 3 from the latest update, set to multiply mode, and Noir Paper 2 in lighter color mode. All my drawing action is going to happen below these two layers. I normally work on an 11 by 8.5 inches canvas at 300 dpi. But for this portrait, I'm going to be working at 600 dpi. The reason is that the cross-hatching textures in all my brushes from this set will automatically be smaller in relation to the canvas, without having to go brush by brush changing their settings individually. This will allow me to use the cross-hatching in a more precise way to be able to work on finer details, but we'll see more about that later. You can see how I'm doing a very basic sketch using the Super Bleeder brush that is included with this set. My main focus right now is to mark with broad strokes where everything should be placed. I'm paying attention to the proportions of the head in relation with her body and also the features inside her head. You can see how I'm even using geometric shapes for things like the nose and the lips, and I'm placing vertical and horizontal lines in her face to make sure that all the features are in place. I'm also using some basic forms to represent the background, and I finish up by detailing a little more the area of the torso. Now I lower the opacity of this first sketch, and I'm going to use it as a base for a more refined sketch on a new layer. My objective now is to get more specific with the shapes and features, to the point that I can use this new sketch as a guide for my final inking in the next step. So my focus is on getting all the information I need there, the shape of the eyes, the position of the nose and its shape, the lips and everything. Notice that this sketch is getting more accurate than the previous one, but the lines are still quite messy. I'm making sure to leave the beautiful lines treatment for the inking part. All that matters right now is to have everything in the right place, with correct shapes and respecting the proportions from my initial sketch. With this second sketch finished, I can start inking. I start with the eyes, because I feel that if I can get them right, I will feel more relaxed and the rest of the drawing will flow smoother. This is the step where I need to take care of doing my lines carefully, so I will take my time and not rush it. I want all my lines and shapes to be as accurate as I can in relation to the reference. This is a process that takes time and skills, and there is no shortcut to it. Drawing good portraits can take years to master, and I'm still learning myself. One important thing to notice is that I'm only inking the main lines of the contours, and I'm not doing any shading during this stage. My plan is to leave all the rendering part for when I'm doing the actual cross-hatching, but before I do that, I like to have all my drawing lines well defined. With the line work done, I can start having fun with the cross-hatching part. Just a quick reminder that you can see what brush I'm using at all times by looking at this rectangle here. I'll start by shading her face using the Wheeler 2 brush. This brush will allow me to carefully follow the shapes of the face and slowly keep building up the volumes by adding lines to the shadow areas and leaving the areas of light clean. You can see how I'm doing strokes in one direction first, following the forms, and then I'm adding more lines but perpendicularly to my previous strokes. This way my lines keep crossing with each other, and this technique allows me to build the density of the cross-hatching where I need a darker and more dense texture. I can also go back to my inking brush if I need to add more specific details in some places, like I'm doing here with the eyes. Another trick you'll see me go for pretty often is to use the cross-hatching brushes with the eraser tool in order to relieve some areas of part of the cross-hatching, almost like creating a subtle gradient from dark to light, made out of positive and negative little lines that intersect with each other. I'm constantly looking at the reference and trying to capture the overall shading. To do that, it helps to look at the area I'm rendering as a whole and trying to not get lost too much in the tiny details. Now you can see how I'm switching to the Wheeler 3 brush. This is just like the Wheeler 2, but the lines it creates are thicker. Using this brush will help me achieve a more dense and darker cross-hatching in the shadow areas. For the clothing, I start by using the light brush. This cross-hatching textured brush will allow me to cover bigger areas in less time, while also giving me the option to rotate the canvas to easily change the direction of the line work. This way I can quickly build the volumes in those places that don't require as much precision. I can also use the Wheeler 3 brush with the eraser tool to lighten up some of those parts where I want the cross-hatching to fade away. I'm also switching to other cross-hatching brushes like the Light 90 brush or the Pressure Hatching 1 brush to give a few touches in some areas. Changing between different cross-hatching brushes often will help for the texture to feel less mechanical and more like I made every single line by hand. At this point I want to start shading the background, because it will help me balance how much more rendering the figure needs, in contrast with the darker parts behind it. If you look closely to the current brush rectangle in the left, you'll see how I keep switching between different cross-hatching brushes to achieve more variety and different hatching densities, depending on what each area needs as I keep checking with the reference. I also keep rotating my canvas with 2 fingers to change the direction of the cross-hatching lines, every time I want to increase the density without having to change to another brush.